All right, update number 2. The Chinese nationals that tried to sneak a deadly fungus into the United States, very likely at the behest of the Chinese government. Watch a little bit of this video and then we'll get into the story.
2 Chinese nationals have been charged for smuggling a biological pathogen into the United States. Here's what we know. Yunqing Jian, a 33-year-old researcher completing a postdoctoral fellowship at the University of Michigan, and her boyfriend, Zhenyang Liu, were stopped at the Detroit Metropolitan Airport after border officers discovered a biological pathogen that can cause devastating diseases in crops, hidden in Liu's backpack. The pathogen, a fungus known as Fusarium graminearum, was stored in 4 small plastic bags that were wrapped in a wad of tissues, according to federal charging documents released this week. The couple had reportedly researched the pathogen as university students in China. Liu allegedly admitted that he had planned to use the University of Michigan's molecular plant microbe interaction laboratory, where his girlfriend has worked since 2023, to conduct further research on the fungus. According to federal documents, Liu initially denied knowing what the materials were and claimed that someone had planted them in his bag. However, authorities say he then changed his story and stated that he intentionally hid the samples in his backpack because he knew there were restrictions on the importation of the materials. Jen claimed that she did not know anything about her boyfriend's smuggling or research plans, though authorities have reported that upon investigation of the couple's electronic devices, they uncovered messages between the two discussing smuggling seeds into the United States. According to the complaint, Liu wrote in a WeChat message to Jen, "I put them in my Martin boots in a small bag, the Ziploc bag, very small." Jan allegedly replied to this message by writing, "That's good, just put it in your shoes." The complaint states that the toxins produced by the fungus cause vomiting, liver damage, and reproductive defects in livestock and humans, and says that the fungus is responsible for billions of dollars in economic losses worldwide each year. A spokesperson for the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs said that they were not aware of the situation, adding that the Chinese government has always required Chinese citizens overseas to strictly abide by local laws and regulations, while also safeguarding their legitimate rights and interests in accordance with the law. The University of Michigan has stated that it condemns any actions that seek to cause harm, threaten national security, or undermine the university's critical public mission. As of June 4th, Jian has been ordered to remain behind bars, while Liu's whereabouts are unknown after he was denied access to the United States for possessing the pathogen.
Okay, so I don't want to repeat too much, which was already there, but we'll get into a little bit of it here. National security authorities and members of Congress are raising an alarm over the alleged plot by 2 romantically involved Chinese researchers to smuggle samples of a dangerous crop-killing fungus into the U.S. Yong Qingzhan, 33, a Communist Party loyalist, that tells you everything you need to know, and lab researcher at the University of Michigan who received Chinese government funding for her work, plotted the illicit transport of the pathogen with her boyfriend Zhenyang Liu, 34, the FBI alleged. Liu was caught at a Detroit Metropolitan Airport last July after allegedly attempting to sneak packages of Fusarium graminearum into the country, the Fed said. This is an attack on the American food supply, one senior Trump administration official told the Post. The fungus is already present in the U.S., but if it was manipulated to become resistant to treatment or to spread more easily, it could have the potential to devastate American farms, one expert told the Post. The U.S. should be testing the fungus sample for any evidence has been tampered with, the expert added. There are similar allegations that the virus that causes COVID-19 was enhanced by China's Wuhan Institute of Virology as part of a U.S.-funded gain-of-function research of the naturally occurring SARS pathogen. China denies a COVID leak from the lab. Of course they do. But the U.S. intel agencies now say that appears to be the most likely cause of the pandemic. We already knew that from day one. There was a lab that was working on this shit, and then there was a leak, and it came from a meat market where they were eating bats. Like, the story was so lame, they didn't even put any proper effort into it. The CCP will use every tool in its warfare toolbox to cripple the United States and bring us to our knees. A pathogen like this, if successful, introduced into a crop, could inflict significant economic loss for U.S. agriculture producers, House Intelligence Committee Chairman Rick Crawford from Arkansas told the Post. Senator Joni Ernst, why the fuck is this? I hate it when it just skips around randomly. Says it appears that the FBI may have intercepted a potential bioweapon. We are very fortunate the Trump administration and federal law enforcement stopped this potential bioweapon before it compromised our nation's food supply, Ernst told the Post. This is exactly what I've always said and will continue to say. Food security is national security. Between this latest bioweapon and China's highly concerning purchases of U.S. farmland around our military bases, we must stay on guard against a threat from the communist China in our own backyard. So, for me, there's a couple of points here. One, they were bringing it into the country in order to study it further and how to replicate it, considering that the university probably has better equipment than whatever China might have available, so they could make more progress looking into it when they brought it here. or with the intention of studying it, replicating it here, and then releasing it wherever they chose to go, or studying it, finding better replication processes, bringing that information back to China, China going through the replication process, and then finding a way to push it around the world like they did COVID, causing a major pandemic around the world. And you could take this fungus, replicate it to large levels, and push a pandemic-like event around the world, except you would be hitting people's food stores as opposed to making them sick with something. So either way, the thought process here is China has gotten away with infecting the entire world with COVID and then lying and bullshitting about how the entire thing happened, whether it was on purpose or whether it was by incompetence and not having proper safety regulations at the research station. And now you have these people who, anything that pretty much comes out of China that's at this level, be it a large business, be students that are being sent here to spy, infiltrate, learn, bring stuff back to China, 9 times out of 10, these circumstances are that these people are working with the Chinese Communist Party under orders from them. They'll like spies. They'll be completely, disavowed. We have no knowledge, which is what I read in that story, as they've already said. Oh, we have no idea who Ying Dong Quinn. I never heard of her. So they're already disavowing. I have no knowledge of them, which is probably what they tell them. If you get caught, we're going to say we had no idea that this operation was happening or that you were attempting to do this. But these people are very, very likely working for the Chinese Communist Party. So when we're talking about enemies that the United States has, right? We're talking about the left bitching and moaning, a lot of people obviously about Russia all the time. Russia, they're going to get us. And then you have China releasing a virus on all of us, and then China once again attempting to release now something that's going to attack our food production and distribution, not necessarily here, but around the world. China is very clearly has to be classified as an enemy at this point. They've been hacking our computers and infrastructure. They've been sending spies to us for years and stealing our technology and finding ways to make this stuff work for them. They've released a virus around the whole world and taken no responsibility for it. And now it looks like, from the evidence that we have, that they were going to affect food supplies and hurt maybe even many more, because even though you were sick with COVID, there was still plenty of food to go. There was no toilet paper, but there's plenty of food to go around. So if you swap that, and one, you have the potential of making it sick. In there, if you ingest this, it's liver and kidney issues. It makes you sick. It can also kill you, depending on how much you take in. So there's that side effect of it. But its primary purpose of wiping out food supplies, and something else to keep in mind, China has been allowed to buy farmland in the United States. As a matter of fact, Katie Hobbs, that leftist bitch Democrat governor in Arizona, has just shot down a bill that I think Republicans put up to say we can't allow China or outside countries to buy American farmland. It needs to be owned by Americans or have an American interest. And that Democrat just shot that down. So basically saying, yeah, it's fine if China buys farmland. Now, what if they take this fungal virus, release it on their own farmland, and then say, oh, look, we've had a natural disaster. We can't produce any food. We need an insurance payment for what happened here. We've lost everything. We can't supply anyone. Sorry, we're out of food. And the more farmland they own, the more that they've not only destroyed an attempt to get an insurance buyback on, but that they don't have to send out for supplies. So now we're running low based on how much those particular farmland that they own gets distributed to either us or other countries. So either way, this is bad. And none of the administrations that we've had have been tough enough on China. Not Barack, not Biden. Unfortunately, President Trump isn't being enough either. He put the high tariffs on. Now he's taking them off. We treat China as this big trading partner that we have to have. And in the meantime, they're a cancer and attempting to rot us from the inside out. It's dangerous. China needs to be one of the countries on the no travel list. That needs to be one of the ones that we cut all contact with completely. They're